Morning, everyone. Today, for this weekend, we're going to do our story of how we met. I'm first going to give you my side, then there'll be a bit of Entwined, and then Graham's side, just to tie it all up. It is a spiritual story because we do believe in Jesus as our Savior. So, with that being said, this story relates to that. There's a story in the Bible with Ruth where she actually met Boaz, and it's in the Old Testament, so it's part of the Jewish tradition. And I didn't know much about that story. I haven't read everything, but I know that she met a lovely man in her life. So I had a marriage, a previous one very early in life, and then I got divorced, had a daughter from there. Then I remarried straight after. I didn't have time to heal. I went straight into another relationship, went out for about 3 years, and then married. And I was married for 33 years. I'm not going into my marriages. It was tough. And I had a lot of issues from a young girl. I hated who I was. I didn't like Cindy at all. It took me into my late 30s, 38, 37, that I started actually loving Cindy. I didn't love myself at all. I hated myself. I would look at a pretty young girl with long hair when I was young, and I wanted to be that girl. I thought, why am I in this body? I don't want to be in this body. And it was a big thing in my life anyway. And then I didn't really know abuse as a young girl at all. We didn't have it in our family line. It was dysfunctional, as many families are in different ways. And so I grew up with a low self-image, hating myself. And when I learned to love myself, it's not in a vain way. It's in a pure way. It's in that I really love Cindy. And I can honestly say I do. For the last, I'd say 20 years or whatever, 15 years, that's been there. So that part sorted itself out. But I still had other issues dragging on. I had such trust issues I didn't trust. Anyway, so I was married for 33 years to my second husband and had 2 children who are grown up now. Then at 59, I couldn't take any more, and I divorced. Well, we divorced. And I was then 59, and when you're 59, you think, how am I going to start my life over again? I was at home doing sort of work from home, helping with different things, and always creative, but I didn't even know I was an artist. I had started maybe 5 years, maybe 6 years before I left, and I wasn't really selling much or anything, so I had no means of earning. So I left, and I was looked after by my whole family. They all came in and helped, and I moved around a lot. That's one thing I did, from one place to the next, because it couldn't be afforded, and then the next and the next. Anyway, it was a lot of traumatic time. And then I eventually found, I did at that time, I don't now, but I was going to church then, and I found a group that did divorce counsel. And the one session was on grief. Wow, that hit me like a ton of bricks. I cried my eyes out. There were only 3 in the group. The leader, a young guy who was passing me tissues, and she says to you, just realize it's all died. And the way, not in a horrible way, but in a way she said it, I had to think about it. My marriage died, my dreams died, all that. And when I cried and cried from the bottom of my heart, it seemed to heal. It just went away. After that session, I was a new woman. Anyway, I came out and I had a relationship, and I was a year out of my relationship with someone. And I went on holiday with a friend, a lady friend. We went to Durban, then we came back and went to St. Lucia with my own family. My son came from England, my daughter and her husband, we all went along, and we had this holiday. My son-in-law broke his ankle, which was terrible, but we all managed. and he had to be seen to. But we came back, and I had now gone into real estate. Through circumstances, I went into real estate. I always had a partner, so they always helped me through the deals. We had been in real estate, this is funny, for years with my ex-husband, and he always paid for my real estate course, well, to keep me in. And when I was now 59, I turned 60, I was 61, we applied for I think I was 60, we applied for me to do my exams for real estate, and they wrote back and said, you have done everything, you're fine, just go ahead, you are qualified. And I thought that was amazing. I didn't have to go because I hate studying, I hate maths, all those things. I'm more artistic. Anyway, so that helped me, and I saw that as a total miracle, that I didn't even have to do anything. Anyway, so I was on holiday, and I came back from holiday, and my one deal had fallen, well, they thought it was falling flat, and they told me. Now, that was my income, trying to get through life. And I remember that night going and lying on my bed. Oh, sorry, I have to backtrack. About a year before that, I was at my little cottage home that I stayed at someone's property, and I just said, you know what? I want a Boaz. Now, Boaz is the man that Ruth met in the Bible. And it came out of my mouth from nowhere. I just wanted a Boaz because I saw Boaz as a kind man. And it's sort of where I was with close people, my sister. We even wrote it down. I have it somewhere on a piece of paper that I want a Boaz man. Anyway, so just relating to the story, they were very spiritual in the sense that they came from Jesus's line, but not as the person, just as the connotation of that story, that I wanted a kind man. Anyway, so I go on holiday, come back, lying on my bed, my deal's falling flat, and I just started crying on my bed. I'm now older. Is this the rest of my life? Alone, looking after myself? It's tough. Anyway, I'm lying there crying, and I think to myself, you know what? I know my life's right with the Lord, but I'm going to just rededicate my life. I'm just going to say that salvation prayer again, which I did, lying on the bed, crying. And then out of my mouth, and I wasn't even thinking of a relationship with a man. I had come out of a relationship, and it wasn't on my mind. I actually had been on holiday, and that same lady who took me away paid for my hair to be cut and made blue. And when I was on holiday, I was trying to wash this blue out with my kids, and my daughter pinned my hair back to make me look better. And I took a selfie and I put it on my Facebook with my bluish hair. Anyway, so back to lying on the bed, I said to the Lord, I said, you know what? I don't want to look for a man anymore. I want you to bring a man to me. And I left it at that. But as I was saying that, this is the miracle part. As I was saying that, Graham, the man I met and on YouTube with, he was looking at Facebook, and my picture passed him as a suggested, do you know this person? And he clicked on it that same night as I was crying, and he asked me to be a friend. And we were both in a singles group, but we had never met. We didn't go to the same things, and I had never looked at his picture. I saw his picture, but never looked at it and never thought anything of it or anything. And I think the same, he didn't even see me in it. And I woke up the next morning better, because when you have a cry, you always feel better. And after crying and just waking up well, I looked at my phone, and there was a friend request from Graham. So I looked at it, and straight away I went, because I've been scammed once before when I first got divorced. They send you a good-looking picture of a man, and then they get into all things in your head. Anyway, I wasn't scammed a lot, just a little. But so I went to look at his picture and look at his Facebook page, and in the Facebook page he had so many beautiful sayings, and I could see he loved the Lord like I do. And I said yes. And as I typed on his message, after I said yes, I said, I see you a Jesus man. And he thought that was funny, his side, because he thought, am I being sarcastic? And, and he wrote back. And from that evening, we just carried on talking to each other into the night. We just spoke and spoke and spoke. And we only met, I think about 6 days later. He asked me to go for coffee. So I met him in Edenvale. He came through to where I was. He was even late, and he phoned me. I thought, oh, don't tell me this is another scammer. Anyway, he phoned. He says, please, Cindy, just wait for me. And I did. And I always get there early, and I was there early. So I waited a long time. Anyway, so he arrived, and we had coffee together. And we really enjoyed the coffee together. So now, with that being said, because I can't think of anything else. Oh, yes. On that day, I have to tell you this. So I had little shoes on, little white shoes with a little black tie around my ankles on either foot. And as we walked to the car, he walked me to my car. My little tie on the one shoe just came apart. It fell apart. And I was flipping in my shoe, flopping. And he bent down and he tied my shoelace. And I thought that was quite cute and profound. And I didn't know that he had pins in his legs and he couldn't really bend. So, but that happened, and I thought that was quite a sign, one of my signs. But it took me a while, because I went and met him. I went to his home and I met all his little animals and everything. And I've never had a prayer that has been answered so quickly as that. I don't think I ever have. And I came back. He actually went to church and met my sister and I, with me to church. And that week, the following week after meeting him, he wanted to see me more. And I just said, I don't know if I want to do this. It's like so quick. And he said to me these words, Cindy, the ball is in your court. And with that, I thought, oh, imagine if I miss out here. You know what I mean? And then I changed my mind, and that's when we started going out. Now, I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to give you the story over to Graham, and he's going to share his side of what he said in his life and what actually happened, because this is where the two tie together. So I hope you're enjoying this, and please subscribe. You know that it takes in South Africa 1,000 subscribers before we can even ask YouTube to handle our YouTube to monetize it. And when a person subscribes, they don't pay anything. They just subscribe and push the all bell and get notifications. That's what it's for. And liking apparently also does something. I heard you can, when you monetize and YouTube likes you, you can get money on likes and all different things, ad revenue. But so I'm asking that we try a lot to bring these little videos. Maybe they're not too professional and they're just Cindy and Graham videos, but we try our best and we love doing it. So I'm asking that you push that subscribe button. It helps us. We're only on 86 now in South Africa. And I heard we can only, I don't know if it's true, but get South African people to subscribe, not really overseas. I'm not sure about that, but we're going very slow and we need to get it to 1,000. We've got 1,000 viewing hours. There's 4,000 viewing hours needed to even go to YouTube and 1,000 subscribers. So please subscribe for us. It would just help us dearly to get into a monetized situation that we can travel more and do more things, maybe travel and come back and do Graham's work. That's what our intention is, to maybe get a storeroom that he can still do his work, come back, do his work, and then go travel and go here and there. So that is our intention. So please subscribe. Thank you.
Hello everybody. Graham is my name, and in my youth, I had a very good youth. My family looked after me. We had a wonderful family, a father and a mother that really looked out for us and supplied and looked out, and it was a good life. I was a naughty little boy. Weren't all boys naughty? And yeah, I've two brothers and a sister, and it's funny how you'd gang up with one brother and the other brother would gang up with a sister, but that's how we were. I was with a friend, a brother of mine, and we were naughty little pigs. But anyway, that's not the point here. I had a good youth, like I said. I went to do an apprenticeship at an aircraft company, Atlas Aircraft, and that was 76. And I qualified a couple of years later, and I worked right through to become an aeronautical engineer, believe it or not. Anyway, so then I met my first wife while we were racing motorcycles, actually. She stayed over the road from one of my teammates, and she would always be there when I was working on his bike or mine. And eventually we got a hold of each other and, you want to be with me? Okay. So after a few years, we got married and we had a beautiful son, Jeffrey, and he's now 38, 84. He was born in 84. Yeah, somewhere around there. And a very nice young man. And I was into computers those days back, 70s, 90s. In the 90s, I gave him a computer that I had spare, but he wanted it. I stripped all the pieces out and said, this is a motherboard, and this is a hard drive, and this is that, and that, and I said, this is how it goes together, and I showed him. Eventually he says to me, when you pack it, just pack it in pieces. I want to show my mom how to do that. He was 5 years old. I'm thinking, so I write this big love letter to my ex-wife, because we were divorced, how to do it. She phones me back two days later and says, what have you done to my son? I said, your son, it's our son. Anyway, and that was the introduction for him into computers, and now he's an IT manager all over. He just works on computers, went through college and everything. Okay, that's my boy. So yeah, I then got involved with somebody else after the divorce, very strangely and very sudden. I didn't even heal or anything, and that lasted about 4 years. I couldn't handle it anymore, not being pushed around like I was and doing this and that, but I'm not here to talk about things like that. Anyway, so I got divorced. So I was also married twice. Maybe third time each. Yeah, that could work, eh? Anyway, so I was involved in an accident in 2010 where I had my legs crushed in a Mercedes-Benz that I was driving, and a truck hit me head on, an 18-wheeler, one of those big trucks, and pushed me back 50 meters onto my side of the road. No, onto his side of the road. Right? Yeah, onto his side. But he was on my side of the road and coming onto me and bashed me, and he pushed over to the other side. So far that the police didn't even see where the accident really originated, because the car was parked there on the wrong side of the road. Anyway, court cases and all that, and I sorted that out. But I became, like my son says, a hermit. I didn't want to be in a relationship with pain from the last relationships and feeling like I did, not being able to walk properly and all that. So I hermitized, just dug into the work and just did what I had to do to make a buck. And eventually, like three years ago, I got, I'm tired of doing this, and I want to see if I can see who's on Facebook to befriend and all that. And before that, let me explain something else. My dad passed away in 2018 in December, the last day of the year, Old Year's Day. the 31st of December. And I was there at the hospital to see him pass away with my whole family. And as he did, he had his eyes open and he was looking at me. And I could just see my grandmother's face. And but she's passed away long ago. And I'm thinking, why am I seeing this? I don't know why I'm just seeing this old lady's face. But in depth, in detail. So I left there not thinking much about it. What was that all about? Even though I thought, oh yeah, now my dad's gone. Now it's really going to be quiet here because he used to stay with me. Now there's no relationship, friends or anything. Anyway, carry on. So I'm on this Facebook one night. And I'm scrolling through like I always used to and putting on my little gospel stuff and all that type of thing. Which I felt was a necessity. And eventually this little column comes up and there's a whole lot of photographs that you can whiz by to see if you know these people. And this one just sticks out to me, looking at me like this. And I'm thinking, who are you? What is this blue you have all around you? You've got like a hue. So I thought, yeah, no, I had a look at everything on her profile and I thought, okay, artist, cool. So I sent a friend message. And yeah, she contacted me again and spoke to me. And we used to WhatsApp each other like all hours. We were on the WhatsApp all the time. And I don't even use WhatsApp. Anyway, so a few days later, we actually we went for coffee. And what a brilliant idea to have coffee. And I actually said to her, we must go to a remote place that's not yours or mine, so that you don't feel threatened and feel safe. So yeah, we went to this place and we had coffee and had a good chat. And I remember tying a shoe. Shame. She nearly tripped over it, so I thought, wait, let me help her there. Anyway, we departed there and we were chatting and I went to her church with her, and the next thing we were chatting again and she said, she doesn't think that she must get involved in a relationship or anything like that. And I thought, wow, that's quite serious. So I said to her, well, the ball's in your court. And lo and behold, she picked up her racket and returned the ball. And we were in the court. It was so lovely. I'm so chuffed to have this beautiful, gorgeous lady to call my lady friend in my life. And she is now the editor of our Vanlife. I believe in prayer. I really do. I know Cindy says it takes a bit of time. It depends on how God sees the situation and what He's created. I believe, and He instantly sorted this out. From me being a hermit to me being involved with the lady in the house. I love that. And so I have this dream of the Jaunti van that we have being the dream of our youth, of the youth of our old age. So we're going to go and do things in Jaunti, in our old age, that we didn't see possible or do in our youth. And that's what it's all about. And we exploring and doing things, we are so happy. We started doing this build in the lockdown, as it lockdown started for COVID-19. Anyway, that's how that happened. Just have to tell you something else, that when we were talking at Cindy's house one day, before this all evolved, she says she's looking for a Boaz. So I thought, okay, Boaz is a kind man. I don't know who you're going to find that's that kind. And then she says something about Ruth. Ruth being with Boaz. I remember that. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. When I saw my dad dying, dead, I saw my grand's face. And her face reminded me that this could be something. I'm sitting here right now looking like that. Because her name was Ruth. Her name was Ruth. And I thought to myself, wow, Boaz, Ruth. Something's clicking here. So yeah, that's how we're going to do it now. We've told you our stories, how we met. And we are so happy together. I look out for Cindy. Cindy looks out for me. She feeds me. And I'm getting bigger and bigger and bigger and fat maybe. I don't know. But yes, I know that Cindy had a problem with accepting herself. But there is no way that I can see how that can happen, because she is a beautiful person. And I'm in love with her. And I plan to spend the rest of my life with this lady, jaunting all over the world. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Cheers. Okay, so now that I've got this lovely lady in my life, I'm going to have to try and change my image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it instantly like that. Ta-da!